with no trivia. Roll like cocaine straight from Bolivia. My hip hop will rock and shock the nation like the Emancipation Proclamation. We MCs approach with slang that's dead. Your minds are running to the wall and bang your head. I push a force, my force you're doubting. I'm making devils cower to the Caucasus Mountains. When I'm the sire, I set the microphone on fire.
Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about the passing sequence that I posted on Facebook recently. Talking about using passing as a chain of techniques in a row, because it's not always the first technique that'll work. I just took a more relaxed stance. It's not always the chain, it's not always the first techniques that works, it's the second or third or fourth or fifth, because you need to make your opponent make a mistake and then capitalize on it, okay? So I always talk about passing in a series of like 3 distances, like the furthest distance, the medium distance, and the close distance, okay? So whenever I pass, make sure you're here. Whenever I pass, I like to start at the furthest distance first, because when you're the farthest away from your opponent, you dictate the pace, meaning like he can't really do anything to me until I engage. So I control the tempo of the match because I get to do the first move and then he has to react to my first move. So that's important. If I just step in right to medium distance here, now it's equal. He can set up a move or I can set up a move, whatever it may be. If he starts to immediately try and set up a De La Riva attack or something, I have to now react to the De La Riva attack, defend it, and then do my attack. But he had the tempo there, and so he's leading the pace of the match at that point. So when we have this furthest distance, you can take advantage of the fact that you get to move first. Okay? So I like to lead with just some sort of technique that is fast and quick without having to use serious grips, because I don't want to have to grip up and then go, because then I'm already in the medium distance. So like one example is like the leg kick pass I like to do, or like a fast Toreando without worrying about the grips. You just immediately pass. But for this situation, we're going to talk about the X pass with the hand on the hip. Okay, this is really good because it doesn't require any grips, and I can just immediately grab, put my hand on his hip, and drive his knee out of the way. Okay, so this isn't guaranteed to let you pass the guard right away, but it is going to initiate the scramble. And as long as you're aware of the chain you want to connect, you'll be able to stay ahead of the match a little bit. Okay, so the first situation is I put my hand on the hip, grab on the outside of the knee, and drive the knee across. This forces him to turn away, right? When someone turns away, that's always good for us. So we force him to turn away. He's going to have to try and recover in some way. And when you're in this position, he only has so many options, right? And really it's just 1 or 2. So the most common option is the guy's going to try and invert onto his shoulders a little bit and recover by bringing his leg back around like that. So if you know that that's his recovery for this situation, we can take advantage of that. The only other option really is if I go here and he doesn't turn away and he faces into me, in which case that's actually better to complete the pass, because then I can put pressure and he's not really going to be able to escape unless he just bench presses me off. So we're counting on the fact that he's going to roll out and recover. So hand on the hip, hand on the knee, step my leg back, drive the knee across. Here, he's going to start to invert. My right hand that was on his hip is just going to go to the knee. My left hand is going to go to his belt or his pants. As he inverts up into his shoulders, I put my knee behind his knee here. Okay, now this is a really good position because he doesn't have a working guard against me. So which means I control the tempo again, meaning I can initiate the attack from here. He's just worried about defending, trying to get my weight off of him. So from here, I'm going to pull the leg into a leg drag position. So I just yank his hips down. I can step back if I want to and really yank it in good. Or if you don't want to do that, you can reach your arm around and grab the collar and then come down. But now we're into the second part of the passing chain. So what's his counter going to be for this time? So when I pull his leg in, he's going to try and bring his leg around and shrink and pull the leg, throw the leg over my head. Very common recovery movement. He doesn't really have a lot of options. His only other option really is to bring his leg across my chest, start trying to shrimp and recover like that, which isn't very common. So when I'm here, and I yank him down, I can pretty much count on him trying to throw that leg up and over. When he throws that leg up and over, we go into like a knee cut style pass. Okay, so I know his leg's going to be here, so I need to be ready for it. So I'm here, pull the leg in. I know the leg's coming over. I'm just going to underhook it deep to the hip. Here. So now I'm deep on the hip here. I have his my shoulder behind his knee. I'm going to reach up and grab his pants or at his knee, it doesn't really matter. Drive the leg down and pin it. Now from here we're in another good position because he doesn't have any attacking opportunities on me. I'm just pinning his leg and I'm still leading the match tempo, which means I'm still the one initiating the moves and he's the one defending the moves. I bring my bottom knee up across his thigh. Bring my knee down from the mat, and it's important I don't put my hand on the mat. If I put my hand on the mat, that means I'm supporting my weight on the mat and not on him. If my hand's off the mat, all my weight's on him, which is what I want. So from here, I'm gonna tuck my ear into his thigh as much as I can, drive through, and reach to the collar. Now it'd be great if I can finish this pass, but he's still gonna be defending. So he has another 2 options. He can bring the leg up and over again, in which case I do the same pass to the other side, and I would do that continuously until I was able to beat him on the recovery. Or he's gonna invert again and try and recover, and we're back in the same position. So you can see, kind of gone through a cycle. We initiated the pass, we ended up in the stack position, we passed again, we ended up in this recovery position. I go again and again, as many times as I need to, trying to pass. If he inverts, we're back into the same cycle. So that's bad for him because he's stuck in a downward spiral, and he can only do those 2 moves over and over again if we do this right. So let's go through the whole thing. I would enter from the long distance, hand on the hip, drive the knee across. He'd recover. I'd bring my knee behind his knee, pin him here, drag to the leg drag. He goes to recover. I'm aware it's coming, so I can move at the same time. That's how you can beat guys to the punch. If you just know it's coming, you move anyways, even if they don't do it. If he doesn't recover, I would just go like this anyways. But if he does, and I do the same movement, now I'm in a good spot. Drive through. He can recover again like that, and I would just continue the movement, or he would invert here, in which case we stack him again. Now, you can get stuck in this cycle all day, which we don't want, so we might have to change things up here. I can keep trying to leg drag and keep trying to duck under and drive my knee through, and eventually I can get the pass, but sometimes it's good to change up the pace. So what I did in the video I showed is I took the back from here, so we'll go over how I did that. It works best when there's momentum, so I'm going to do the whole thing through real fast. So I say I went like this, and he just inverted right away. So instead of doing the full sequence here, all I'm going to do is put my hand on the knee and the pants. Let's turn this way. Hand on the knee and the pants. Try and put as much weight as I can over him, and I'm going to roll forward like I'm doing a forward roll. As I do my forward roll, I'm here. I'm going to cross my feet together here over his leg, and I just extend here. So I don't immediately get my hooks, but I do attack the back from here, and I forced him to roll into a position where I'm now behind him. From here I would throw one hook, and then the other hook. Okay? So the 3 movements we need are the movement where when he recovers this way, I pin with the knee behind his knee, putting pressure. This is an important movement here. From here you have a lot of options. You can drag to the leg drag, or we can underhook the leg here and go to the cross collar. There's a lot of different positions you can do from there. The other one is if I leg drag here, he recovers, throwing the leg, I catch and put a lot of pressure, pinning the leg, making sure I bring my knee across over the top of his knee, not on his shin. I don't want to go too low, because now my weight's off and I'll fall backwards if he tries to escape. So I'm here, driving the knee across, reaching far, not placing my hand on the mat anywhere. Don't place your hand on the mat. Grab the collar. If you grab and pull tight enough, he's not going to be able to switch his hips to recover. But a lot of times when they're resisting in this motion, as I actually pass, I'm here. My weight can kind of fall off a little bit, and they'll turn when they throw again. I have to be ready for it. Here. Now, if you don't want to drive through, a tricky thing you can do is just grab the pants here. Like we're going to go for the movement, but instead of actually going for the driving through and coming around the outside, you just shrug back, catching over the hip. So all along the passing chain, there's other options that you can use to pass the guard. You have to just be aware of them. And then the final movement, which is the most complex, but it's cool looking. Here, grab the knee, I bring my knee up, put my foot on the mat, grab the knee and the pants. I'm going to roll through like I'm going to a forward roll. Cross my legs like this. This gives me just a little bit of pressure on his leg to control him, and roll through. Now from here, even if I don't take the back, I'm in a really good position, because I can grab around his waist. If he tries to recover in any way, I'm going to go get to my knees, and we made him turtle, which is always good. And then from there, we can attack the back. So that's one of the passing chains that I really like. us. Start sweating a lot.
Remember your vows. You can't break them.
Oh, I'ma give it to ya with no trivia. Roll like cocaine straight from Bolivia. My hip hop will rock and shock the nation like the Emancipation Proclamation. We MCs approach with slang that's dead. Them eyes are running to the wall and bang your head. I push a force, my force you're doubting. I'm making that